Hey, welcome to another Monday Moment. Sunday I mentioned Mephibosheth, Jonathan's son, that David showed kindness to in 2 Samuel 9, I believe it is. Yeah. Mephibosheth appears before David, probably thinks that David is going to kill him. Last he knew, his grandfather Saul was trying to kill David. And here David summons Mephibosheth. And he falls down before David and he says, "Here's your servant." David says, "Don't fear, Mephibosheth. I'm going to show you kindness for your father Jonathan's sake." And why would David do that? Because Jonathan and David were in covenant. And Jonathan made David vow that he would be kind to his family after he was gone. And so here's David keeping his word. And he tells Mephibosheth, "You're going to get all the property that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you're going to eat at my table continually." And Mephibosheth says, "What would you have to do with a dead dog like me?" He thought he was dead in David's eyes. And instead, he's going to dine with the king for the rest of his life. And what I love most about this story is when Absalom rebelled against King David. He was bitter. David did not handle things well. He was a horrible father. And Absalom rebels. And by the time David tries to restore Absalom, it's too late. He's too far gone. His heart is hard. He's bitter. And so he tries to steal the kingdom away from his dad, from his father, King David. And when David was fleeing Absalom, Ziba, Mephibosheth's servant, comes to David with all these supplies and lies about Mephibosheth and says that, my master Mephibosheth said, now the kingdom will be turned over to Saul's house as is rightfully so. And he completely lies. And David goes, "Well then, all that belongs to Mephibosheth is yours. All the land is yours now." Absalom gets killed by Joab. David returns home to Jerusalem. And then we pick it up in 2 Samuel 19:24. "Now Mephibosheth, the son of Saul, came down to meet the king. And he had not cared for his feet, nor trimmed his mustache, nor washed his clothes from the day the king departed until the day he returned in peace. So it was, when he had come to Jerusalem to meet the king said, 'Why did you not go with me, Mephibosheth?' And he answered, 'My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For your servant said, I'll saddle a donkey for myself that I may ride on it and go to the king, because your servant is lame. And he slandered your servant to my lord the king. But my lord the king is like the angel of God. Therefore do what is good in your eyes. For all my father's house were but dead men before my lord the king.'" See how Mephibosheth thought that he was as good as a dead dog. "Yet you set your servant among those who eat at your own table. Therefore, what right have I still to cry out any more to the king?" So the king said to him, "Why do you speak any more of your matters? I have said, you and Ziba divide the land." Notice Mephibosheth's response, and what a pure heart he was. Mephibosheth said to the king, "Rather let him take it all, inasmuch as my lord the king has come back in peace to his own house." I love it. Mephibosheth is given all of his grandfather's property. He's given over 20 servants to serve him so that he'll have food to eat. And he is betrayed by his own servant. All of that is taken away. And then when David hears the whole matter, he says, "Well, then you guys can split it." And what does Mephibosheth say? He can have it all. What's most important to me is that the king has returned. The king has come home safely. I love that. Mephibosheth valued the presence of the king more than any presence from the king. When our hearts are right, we want God's presence more than we want anything that's ever been given to us. No matter how great the value, we want his presence over and above it all. And if anyone models that in Scripture, it's Mephibosheth, who was given everything, felt that he had no right to anything, yet was given it all. Ate at the king's table. And it was more important that he was with the king than it was that he kept everything the king gave him. More important than lands, more important than the food that was provided for him, was the king's presence. And what a beautiful picture that is of a heart that's right before God. I pray this finds you well. God bless until we meet again.